Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a look at something pretty dark, the Dark Elves of Tanalon. They get called the Lords of the Undernight in a lot of the sources.
Right, and what's really striking, what we're trying to explore today is how these aren't your typical fallen elves. The sources paint them as having deliberately, chosen this path.
They rejected grace.
Completely. They're utterly convinced of their own supremacy, and they live in this place. It's not just without light. The idea of light is basically forgotten.
Yeah, the descriptions are blunt. The tyrant, the obsidian fist, the lords below. It keeps coming up.
Absolutely. And their goal, well, it's not about grabbing land on the surface, is it? It's control. Pure fear. Perfecting pain almost as an art form.
An art form. Wow, okay.
Yeah, an ideology where cruelty is the highest expression. And you see that reflected most clearly in their home.
Let's start there then. Let's descend into Talzerth. What do the sources actually tell us about this underworld?
Well, first off, Talzerth isn't natural. Not like some deep cave system. It's described as vast, jagged, carved out from under Tanalon, mostly from obsidian.
Carved out. So artificial.
Largely, yes. And it's threaded through with blood magic. Really potent stuff, apparently designed to keep it in eternal, absolute blackness. It sounds less like a realm and more like a constructed nightmare.
And the surface world, the world above, how do they see that?
Oh, that's just a playground. That's the term used. Somewhere to find amusement, grab resources.
Meat.
And meat, yes. Talzerth is their reality.
Yeah.
Everything else is just peripheral fodder.
Okay, that deep connection to darkness, to shadow. It must show in how they look, right?
Yeah.
The sources mention this kind of dangerous elegance.
Exactly. They're tall, about 6 feet, lean, but you can tell there's muscle there, built for speed, precision, and sudden violence.
Graceful but deadly.
That's the phrase, yeah. And like knives dancing through moonlight, their whole bearing is a warning sign, a visual threat.
The skin tones are interesting too, not just dark, but ranging from coal black to this sort of pale, almost sickly violet.
Sometimes even like living stone, which is a strange image.
It is, and the eyes, they glow.
Naturally, yeah. Deep purples, crimsons, blood ruby red, that's common. But what's really flagged as significant is when you see gemstone colors.
Like sapphire, jade.
Exactly, sapphire, jade, topaz. That's marked as a sign of maybe a magical mutation or really ancient, pure bloodlines, something set apart.
And hair, also quite distinct.
White, silver, deep violet, jet black, often braided, complex war knots, or sometimes just loose, free like spider silk.
It all paints a picture. And their clothing, their armor, it reinforces this.
Absolutely. Minimalist, deadly designs, black or ash-colored armor, layered with leather, thin chain, and this stuff called void silk.
Void silk, what's that?
It's described as a material that literally seems to capture shadows, and they wear this stuff all the time, not just for war, even just walking around Talzerth. That's all about projecting power.
That constant projection of power. It takes us right into their culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just brutality, it's refined cruelty.
That's a good way to put it. If you look at their psychology, it's pure hedonism. Indulging in pain, narcotics, flesh. It's all the same pursuit of sensation.
And the age thing is key here. They live for thousands of years.
Right. But unlike other long-lived races who might gain wisdom, perspective, the Dark Elves gain, and the sources say this, cruelty refined. They spend millennia perfecting depravity.
So history isn't for learning lessons. It's for testing torture techniques.
That's a grim way to see it, but yeah, it seems like they have endless time to explore the boundaries of pleasure and pain until the lines just blur completely.
And this philosophy, it even dictates what they eat. The sources say nothing they consume is innocent.
Nothing. It's entirely based on dominance. They only eat what they've subjugated, what they've bled. The staple is slave flesh.
Right. Grim.
Supplemented with these deep mushrooms, which aren't just food, they're also powerful narcotics, hallucinogens, fueling that constant search for new sensations, new extremes.
And the famous black wine.
Yes. It's described as this thick alchemical brew, very potent. Apparently it doesn't just intoxicate, it burns, and it stains the teeth permanently black.
So it's like a badge of honor or dishonor, depending on your view.
Exactly, a visible mark of consuming this dark brew. It embodies their rejection of anything natural, anything clean.
Okay, so if dominance is the only virtue, their society must be incredibly unstable, like a constant state of internal conflict.
Well, yes and no. Stability is maintained, but through sheer terror, not agreement. Strength is literally the only thing valued. Weakness
Is punished.
It's seen as a debt to be collected in blood. There's no helping the weak, no compassion. Slavery isn't just a consequence of their wars, it's the bedrock of their entire civilization.
The sources mention slave revolts, though. Do they ever actually work? Or is it just, I don't know, sport for the masters?
They happen, desperation forces it, but they're always crushed,
Yeah.
swiftly, brutally, and the aftermath. It usually ends in mass ritual sacrifices of anyone who survived. A clear message.
A horrifying message. Okay, let's shift to the structure of power within this society.
Mm-hmm.
How do the elites organize themselves? We hear about clans.
Right, the society is fractured into these ancient warring clans, and membership, rank, ancestry, even magical power. It's all denoted by these magical white ink tattoos.
White ink, so they stand out in the darkness.
Exactly. The sigils glow faintly in the pitch black of Talzurth.
Yeah.
Power made literally visible.
So what happens if you don't have one? The tattooless. Exiles, criminals, bastards. Are they lower than slaves?
In a way, yes. A slave belongs to someone, has a minimal, brutal kind of place. The tattooless belong to no one. No protection. They're just outside, treated like animals, like meat.
So their only option is?
Escape, maybe, or survive on the fringes. On the surface, they often end up as mercenaries, assassins, taking the jobs no clan member would touch because they're so dangerous.
What's really interesting here, though, is the gender aspect, or lack of it. In a society obsessed with dominance, gender apparently plays no role in who gets to the top.
None whatsoever. Men and women are described as absolute equals. In magic, in cruelty, in leadership potential. The ruler isn't a king or queen specifically, just the tyrant.
The tyrant. And how does one become the tyrant? It doesn't sound like a peaceful succession.
Oh, definitely not. It's this constant, brutal cycle. Ritual combat, collecting these arcane jewels that signify power, and assassination. Lots of assassination.
So your advisors are just waiting for you to slip up.
Pretty much. They're just rivals biding their time. The tyrant can never, ever relax, which I suppose ensures they remain utterly ruthless.
That internal pressure cooker must create some incredibly dangerous fighters. Which brings us to their combat style, the mage warrior. They don't separate magic and swordplay.
Not at all. Facing a dark elf means facing someone who's a master swordsman and a powerful sorcerer at the same time. And they're magic. It's not about healing or light. It's drawn from dark, destructive forces purely for hurting people.
Let's look at the examples. Blood magic is mentioned first. They heal, but how?
They heal by drawing on the agony of others. The sources are clear. They can mend horrific wounds almost instantly, but only by feeding on the pain of someone nearby, preferably someone they're inflicting it on.
That's purely sadistic. Healing through causing pain.
It perfectly embodies their philosophy. Then you have the offensive stuff. Void magic, tearing at sanity, at space itself, and shadow magic, abyssal magic.
What does abyssal magic do?
It's described as unraveling things. Physically, spiritually, unmaking flesh and soul. They have zero use for healers or protective spells in their culture. It's all about causing suffering and destruction.
And their weapons and gear reflect this too. Not just killing, but disabling, capturing.
Yes, often barbed, designed for slow, painful wounds. They use this obsidian, metal, sharp, jagged, often cursed. Whips with barbs, chains, and hand crossbows are very common.
Tipped with venom.
Exactly. Fast-acting paralytic venom. They often want their victims alive, immobilized, not instantly dead.
Even their mounts are specialized for this dark environment.
Right. They ride these blind, two-legged lizard beasts, bred in total darkness. They're silent, and they can climb sheer walls, apparently. Their blindness doesn't matter. Hearing and smell are hyper-acute.
So when they attack, there's no warning, no thundering charge.
Just the whisper of movement, the sound of steel, which ties into their communication.
There's silent language.
Yes, they know surface languages, but in raids and war councils, they rely on this complex, fluid, silent sign language. Speaking out loud during combat, that's seen as undisciplined, a weakness.
But they do speak sometimes. The sources describe their voices as unsettling.
Soft, melodic, but cold. Like silk hiding a blade is one description. It's like even sound is a weapon, used sparingly for effect. Maybe for commands or a final chilling threat. Silence gives them the edge.
Okay, let's talk about how they actually interact with the surface world. If it's just filth, sun, and softness to them, why bother having outposts up there?
It's all about access. They have this huge hidden network of outposts, usually centered around magical gateways, runes etched in blood and void stone. From these points, they launch raids.
For what? Slaves?
Slaves, absolutely.
Wow.
Gold, magical knowledge. Sometimes just for sport, for the thrill of the hunt. They don't want to rule the surface, just bleed it dry.
There's that fascinating detail about when they do have to conduct business. Diplomacy of a sort. With human cities, maybe.
Yes, the slave diplomat. It perfectly sums up their contempt.
Explain that.
When they have rare dealings with lesser beings, they refuse to speak directly. It's beneath them. So they use the slave, one trained specifically in diplomacy and rhetoric, to be their voice.
While the Dark Elf Master just watches.
Stands there silently, cloaked, observing, like a spider. The message couldn't be clearer. You are so insignificant, I won't even waste my breath on you. My property will speak for me. It's pure psychological dominance.
Calculated arrogance. Yet despite that official stance, you have the tattooless outcasts we talked about. The mercenaries, the assassins operating on the surface. Some even become famous.
Yeah, some gain reputations, maybe for killing a troublesome demon or overthrowing a petty tyrant. They can achieve fame, wealth even.
But they're never really trusted.
Never fully. There's always that fear, those whispers. People on the surface know where they come from. They remember the stories. They know what happens when those black gateways open. Nobody truly believes a dark elf can just change its nature. Forget its taste for blood.
So wrapping this up, the Lords of the Undernight. They aren't your standard villains plotting world domination. They seem content in their cruelty.
Exactly. They are cruelty perfected. Dangerously powerful and utterly satisfied with their depravity. They don't want our lands, just our resources, our pain.
But you mentioned some recent rumors. Something changing.
Well, yes. That's the really chilling part. There are whispers, unconfirmed but persistent, circulating across Tanalon about a new tyrant.
A new leader who's doing something different.
Someone who's actually managing to unite the clans, which is almost unprecedented for a huge obsidian crusade.
A crusade to the surface. I thought they didn't want to conquer.
The rumors say it's not about conquest. It's about harvesting. Systematically, the phrase used is chilling, to harvest entire kingdoms for meat.
For meat?
Yeah. So it leaves everyone on the surface with this terrifying question, what happens now? What happens when this incredibly powerful, sadistic race stops raiding sporadically and turns its full unified attention to basically farming entire populations? That's the potential horror looming over Tanalon.